All right, so today we're jumping into something pretty wild. A theme park, but not just any theme park. This one is being built, for real, at the edge of civilization. It's called Foreverland. And honestly, this story might just flip how you think about the future.
Okay, so let's start with a big question. Just think about this for a second. What if you were going to build a theme park, a huge one, but instead of putting it near a big city, you put it at the end of the world? I'm not kidding, that's what the creators are calling it.
I know, it sounds like something out of a movie, right? But it's not. This is where we meet Sarrah and David. See, for them, this isn't some crazy what if. They are actually out there right now, boots on the ground, making this whole thing happen.
So you got to be asking the same thing I was. Why? I mean, why on earth would you pick a spot that's so incredibly remote? It seems counterintuitive, right? Let's dig into the why behind this pretty strange location choice.
And look, we're not just talking out in the country here. The sources we're looking at call this place, and I quote, the end of civilization. Picking a spot like that, it's not about finding a cheap plot of land. It's a statement. It's a deliberate move to force themselves to rethink, well, everything. We're talking power, water, community. Everything has to be built from absolute scratch.
Okay, so that really gets us to the heart of it all. It's way more than just where they're building this thing. It's about what they're building. So let's talk about the actual dream, the vision of Foreverland.
To really get what Foreverland is all about, you have to get its philosophy. You know, most of us, we're living in this economy that's all about buying more, consuming more, often going into debt for it. But Sarrah and David, they're trying something totally different. They're building this whole thing on what's called a resource-based economy.
So, what in the world is a resource-based economy? Well, just imagine a system where the #1 goal isn't making a profit. Instead, it's about making sure everyone has what they need, but in a way that's sustainable for the long haul. It's about access to things, not necessarily owning them, and it's all built on cooperation to figure stuff out. Okay, so that's the big idea, the grand vision. But how do you actually do that? How do you take this massive concept and turn it into something real? Let's take a look at the nuts and bolts of the build, happening as we speak at civilization's edge.
You know, every huge project starts somewhere, right? And for Foreverland, the starting point was, well, pretty humble. The source material literally calls it a wannabe campsite. So yeah, they weren't starting with some perfect piece of property. It was more like a really challenging, totally blank canvas.
So how do you go from a wannabe campsite to a groundbreaking theme park? Well, it's a step-by-step process for sure. First up, you have to build the absolute basics from nothing. We're talking roads, shelters, plumbing, stuff that just wasn't there. Then you start bringing in the cool tech, the heart of the project, right? You're testing out solar panels, water recycling systems, new ways to grow food, and it all has to work together perfectly. After that's in place, you can start building the actual community, bringing in people who believe in the vision. And then, finally, once that foundation is solid, you can build the theme park on top of it all and open the doors for everyone to see.
And by now, you're probably getting it. This is so much more than just an off-grid community or a fancy campsite. There's a much bigger picture here.
This quote from our source material really nails the mission. It calls Foreverland an ongoing fair and trade show testing and proving sustainability solutions. See? This isn't about running away from society. It's about building a living, breathing laboratory for society. So, let's break it down. What is Foreverland? On one hand, yeah, it's a super unique place for families to visit. But it's also a hands-on lab for sustainability. It's like a constant trade show for green technology. And maybe, just maybe, it's a model for a whole new way to live. It's all of those things, all rolled into one. Which of course brings us to the biggest question of all. The real reason we're talking about this. Could this crazy experiment actually be a blueprint for the future? When you boil it all down, what Sarrah and David are doing, it's more than just building a physical place. It's a bold, live experiment. It's a test of what becomes possible when you're brave enough to just stop and question everything. Our economy, our communities, how we live.
And that's really the idea I want to leave you with today. It's a huge, audacious vision, there's no doubt about it. But just think about it. Could a theme park, of all things, built at the very edge of our world, actually hold the key to building its future?